The TikTok ban is a real blessing in disguise. It's a real blessing in disguise. As you observe, Venus and Saturn conjunct, manifesting a disruption to the astral body. All over America, especially the youth and liberal personalities, there's a shockwave that's splitting the astral body from the Pisces crisis. The Pisces crisis is escapism, addiction. Escapism and addiction. To attempt to outstrip the reality where burdens, debts, due process, authority, the burdens of the processes of life, trying to escape the burdens of due process. And behind that is greater crisis, greater trouble that amounts from negligence. Negligence to the soul, negligence to the spirit, according to the context of Pisces. Negligence to certain duties in areas of your life, depending on where Pisces is at in your natal birth chart. It specifies. Saturn is an authority, and that authority is working in our favor. There's a war in heaven. There's a war in heaven, and the angels are fighting to save the children from we as adults failed to protect them from. In delusion, thinking ourselves like children, giving our thinking, our consciousness over to the desires and tears and complaints of women, of females, of liberals, following behind them and what they themselves justify, instead of being the men of authority that God has made us to be, following the line of the law, the rule that protects and contains the people, that saves and preserves the children. This is a crisis of single parent households. Not saying that this can't affect households where there is more than one parent. No. But what makes this a plague in the culture is the fact that Western culture, it condones and promotes single parenting. And once you have that single parenting, the wife herself, the woman herself, the mother herself is now open to the enemy. And if she's open to the enemy, the children most certainly are open to the enemy. As long as a man is not there, she's open to the enemy. And it's not enemies that she understands or recognizes until it's too late. Our children have gotten away from STEM, and they have fallen victim to addiction and dancing, laughing and giggling, doing dumb shit in front of a camera, stupid shit in front of a camera all fucking day. Children are growing up saying, instead of I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a scientist, I want to be an inventor, I want to be an astronaut. 9 out of 10 of these kids are growing up saying, I want to be an influencer. I want to be an influencer. This is what America has reduced itself to. Where has our morals and values gone? Where has our integrity gone? Where's our strength? Where's our character? Where are our values at? I'll tell you where it's at. It's right behind women, following them into the hellfire, following them into the reduction of ourselves and our value. We're losing it all following the whims of women and what women want it to be. This is the world that women wanted. This is the world that women chose, how they wanted it to be. Alienating fathers from the children. Oh, don't tell me how to raise my kids. Oh, don't say nothing to my baby. You're good for nothing, daddy. Your daddy ain't this, your daddy ain't that. And with the fathers alienated behind the themes of feminism, the children are ruined. They're maintained, but they're not raised because it takes two to raise them. Critical thinking is not in the psyche of these children because there is no father to give them critical thought, to challenge the thought, to exercise the thought. Children raised by single parents, they grow up overemphasizing their Venus, overemphasizing their astral body, and they become in a crisis of what's called rickets. Okay? Rickets is when a child does not get enough calcium or D3 absorbed into the body, or even in some cases a crisis with the blood and blood marrow production. And when a child gets rickets, it causes a deformation to the bone structure. And then you have to supplement the child to catch them up. What supplementation of Saturn looks like is jail, prison. When it really gets bad, it's even death. And as for the little girls, the alternative is getting pregnant early so that the child puts an anchor on the fast-moving child to subject her to the rings of Saturn. And this is simply supplementation of calcium, supplementation of D3 that the father was to give them in spirit. The calcium, the structure, the discipline, the order, the character, the 10th house formation, Capricorn, rectitude. TikTok shutting down is a blessing, even if it's for a short time, to give the youth a glimpse, to give the parents a glimpse of themselves in addiction, to see how bad the addiction is. You smoke crack every day? Well, let's see what happens if I hide your crack rock. Because all this time you're telling me you're not addicted to the crack. Oh, it's no big deal. But what happens if I hide your crack rock? You gonna start sweating at the forehead, scratching, going into convulsions, getting angry, getting aggressive, stealing, lying, and cheating to get another rock? Will you lose it? Will you fall all apart? What will happen if you can't get that crack rock? So you are addicted. Look at you. Can't even keep yourself together. So this is a glimpse of where some of our addictions are at. And exposure. America is being examined. An examination is taking place. Look at your children. Look at you adults who are following behind your children. Who's the child and who's the adult? And while we're addicted to these things, look at how much we're dumbing ourselves down as a people. Incapable of critical thought. And while we're passing up all the STEM, the Saturn application of intelligence, the Jupiter application of intelligence that deals with the physical realm, science, engineering, technology, mathematics, the things that really affects the infrastructure of the world, of society, the things that really matters. And on a smaller scale of that would be the blue collar. These are things that children are no longer interested in. They don't want to be pipe fitters. They don't want to be electricians. They don't want to be plumbers. Their female counterparts said that's not attractive. They said that's dusty. They said, we won't date you. They said, we won't like you. Everything keeps coming back to the female and her toxic culture of feminism and liberalism and how it has destroyed America. It has destroyed the children. It has cursed the blood. And the angels of heaven are fighting to get back the children, to restore them back to authenticity, back to the nature of which God created it to be. And it was not created to be governed and ruled by a woman alone, because it ruins the child. A father has to be there. These curses are being met by angels. Miraculous works are taking place. Supernatural things are taking place right now. Let's not miss it. Let's pay attention to it. How honest and resilient can you be to face the facts, to face the truth, to face the reality of what's really happening here? We're no longer the great nation that we once were because we turned into TikTokers, influencers, hypersexual, drug addicts. A nation of people who makes art out of life. Art out of relationships. And it never works. It never lasts. Delusional. Childish. All of these things that's happening back to back is miraculous, and it's in our favor. How many people tonight at this conjunction of Venus and Saturn are getting to come to a full stop and say, whoa, what am I doing here? I didn't realize how much I relied on it. I didn't realize how much I was addicted to that app. I didn't realize how much my children were addicted to this. I didn't notice how much I identify with it and others identify. I didn't understand how much I depended on sourcing information, sourcing a perspective, sourcing my understanding of my reality in life through this app. That could be part of the problem. What about introspect, reflection, meditation, prayer? How many answers do you get from that? How much truth do you get from that? How much insight can you gain from that? But you get it from swiping and listening to what a bunch of females on the camera is saying as they tap the camera, shake the camera around as they talk, can never hold it steady, and run in their mouth, blah, 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 misinformation. Filling you with toxic habits and perspectives. This is a perfect time for us to come to full stop and look at what we are doing and what we're subjecting our children to. What have we been doing with our time, with our energy? You're not interested in STEM anymore? Your kids can't write cursive? Your kids can't focus for 3 minutes? They can't read books no more because they get distracted. Oh, they got ADD. No, they don't have ADD. You just didn't train their spirit. You didn't connect them to the ethereal. You indulged them in the astral. And that's why they appear to have ADD, because they're indulged in the astral and they don't have a form in the ethereal. Their intelligence is disconnected from their feeling. They became artful, checked out of reality, disconnected from reality, not able to even know the difference between reality and art. They're shy, they're weird, they can't spell, they can't read, they can't write. They can't fight, they can't take pain, they can't take pressure. Goddamn, what the fuck are we doing with our kids in this nation collectively? They don't know if they're boys or girls. And you mean to tell me it's not a problem that fathers are alienated in this country? That men are vilified in this country? Because that is the saving grace of the children. The father's presence, the father's involvement. But oh, you got a personal problem with the father, so you turn the kids into weapons. You go to the courthouse, you turn that into a weapon. But guess who you're hurting? You're cursing your children, and you didn't even work out the curse that you yourself were born with. So it's compacted. It's picking up density. Full stop, because there's something to notice. Full stop, because there's something to realize. Full stop, because there's something to see. The dots have to be connected. We have to come back to the ability to listen to the conscience, to listen to the intuition, to listen to the heart, to seek answers, to seek guidance, to seek clarity from self, from the inner self. But instead, what people are doing, what children are doing, they're going on the internet and they're looking for somebody attractive to tell them what to think. They're looking for somebody charismatic to tell them what to think. They're not looking for anybody who actually understands and knows what they're talking about. They're looking for somebody who has enough followers to give them the impression that the person knows what they're talking about. They're looking for somebody who has enough likes to give them the impression that the person is speaking from authority. They're looking for somebody who's pretty in the face or handsome in the face, charismatic in the personality, funny, charming in the personality, to tell them whether or not this person should be followed or listened to. And oh, what a great mistake. And what's sad about it is women think the same way as children. They have the misunderstanding that if somebody has a bunch of followers, they must be right. If somebody's handsome, they must be right. If somebody's pretty, they must be saying the truth. And children and women make this same mistake. It's men who have the natural ability to compartmentalize and see the difference. The bitch ass simp nigga who was raised by single parents, he can't see the difference. He worse off than them. But this is the problem that we have in this world. We're not connected to the intuition. We're not connected to the clairvoyance. We're not connected to the inner child. We're disconnected from all these things because of noise, distractions, and following the ways of women throughout life, which has us coming to dead end after dead end. Personality politics. Falling for fool's gold everywhere we go, just like women. These luciferic addictions, it causes us to abandon the light, the illumination of authenticity of the fifth house, of the soul, the heart, Leo, the heart, soul, urge expression, which is the numerological value of the day you were born. That's the true light. That's the true light, called Christ. The false light, luciferic, the light bearer. This is where you attempt to shine through inauthentic ways. You attempt to shine through ways that are vain, futile, insincere, counterproductive, selfish, fixated on reactions from people and consumption of material. And this is the disease that our children have here in America. They have this sickness, and so do our women. It's a sickness, it's a plague. The more attractive the woman is, the more attractive the young man is, the more they are addicted to that damn camera, addicted to these apps. Attention, look at me, look at me, look at me, narcissism. We have a warped perception and understanding of what value really is. The value of a person is now determined on how many followers do they got, how many likes do they have, how pretty are they, how handsome are they, how tall. This is the most childish, elementary thinking. As Americans, we should be ashamed of ourselves and how low we have come in our wisdom and our intelligence. We're now thinking like females. That's how females think. Children and females think the same way. You can have a perfectly good man in front of you. Oh, I don't like his shoes. Oh, I don't like the way he wears his shirt. Oh, he's not tall enough. Childish. Meanwhile, the indulgence in entertainment, the avoidance of STEM, H-1B visas, visa holders, which are mostly Indian, they are tech ready. Okay, you Americans don't want it. You Americans are interested. Okay, we'll do it. We got it. You got Asians and you got Indians and some Africans who come over here prepared from their family structures, full of the discipline, full of the focus. They don't have the ADHD problem, and you're not going to blame that on the diet. It's the lifestyle. It's the lifestyle. It's not just the diet. Yes, sugar especially has a lot to do with that. But giving children a structured lifestyle, discipline, order, structure, teaching them how to focus and training their ability to focus. These kids can't even read. Short attention spans. They can't hold attention long enough to download concepts, logistics, process, procedures, steps, formulas. They can't remember anything. And then they become weed addicts before they hit 14. Smoking weed that's stronger than a damn a Russian wrestler. Smoking all day. And because they're raised by single parents, mothers always give in. They always give in. If they become promiscuous early, if they want to have a baby early, if they start drinking early, start doing drugs, they start smoking weed, single mothers will always give in to the kids in whatever the fuck they want to do. They'll give in. And they'll be doing it with them. They'll bring a baby home to them. They'll come in smelling like weed and sit right next to them. There's no fathers. Look, the children we're producing are useless. They're good for fucking nothing in America. Useless youth. Because of the selfishness of single parenting. A culture that didn't have to be like that. But our women drink the Kool-Aid and they think it's cute. They think they doing something. But really what they're doing is they're hurting themselves, they're hurting the generations, they're cursing the blood. H-1B visas, Indians, Africans, Asians, they ready for it. Why? They come from the mother and father household dynamics. They come from strong families. They come from generational cultural significance. They have identity. They know who they are. They had the authority of the mean ass father standing over them looking like a fucking boogeyman. Because that's how God wanted it to be. But you leave it to American women, oh, that's misogynistic. Oh, you're scaring the children. Studies have shown every time a bitch says something stupid, they start out by saying studies have shown, and then they say something dumb and fucking ridiculous. Studies have shown, and some retarded shit come out of fucking mouth. Meanwhile, the most productive STEM brilliant minds have fathers in the back of their head who they're scared of, who they don't want to fail in front of, who never seems to think that anything that they do is good enough, who they can never seem to impress. Yeah, that's how fathers have been since the beginning of fucking time. But you let some brilliant liberal females tell you what studies have shown, it's misogynistic, and trick you out of the kids having a father that's supposed to be like the roaring lion standing over, not to oppress or intimidate the children, not to be overbearing, or to bring them to provoke them, but to awaken the consciousness of Saturn within their self. That's what the father is to do. He is the presence of Saturn in the life of the children. And it supplements the calcium into their infrastructure, the K2 in the infrastructure, the D3 in the infrastructure of the spirit of the soul. Where does blood itself, vitality, where does blood come from? It comes from the bone marrow. Understand? This is what we not get. Brilliance and icons are produced by men. And countries who still have fathers will smoke our children. They will smoke us. They will smoke them effortlessly because they have fathers. They have families. Our children have become jokes. Entitled jokes. Racist jokes. Always on a race card. Never respecting any kind of authority. Unprofessional. Can't sit up straight. Smelling like weed everywhere they go. Can't take no pain or hard work. Yeah. We're dealing with an illegal immigration crisis, but Lord, believe me, those people are way more qualified in character and spirit than what we have been producing out of the culture of feminism and liberalism. Females in this society would do well to shut the fuck up and let America become great without them distracting the process of greatness. By giving their effort to help us out by not turning the children and infrastructures into weapons against fathers. By not alienating fathers, by not lying on fathers just because it didn't work out between you and him. That's how you can help us. Nobody needs women to come out into the infrastructure of society and take up men's roles as if you're doing us a favor. No, you're in the fucking way. Get the fuck out the way. Find something that women are supposed to fucking do. That's how you can help us out. That's how you could do us a favor. H-1B visa issue is a real thing. Because even if they started to have training facilities, made it easier to enroll in colleges and take up these classes without amassing so much debt, the kids still can't concentrate. They still can't pay attention. They can't go to school without cheating. They don't have memories. 9 out of 10 of them are high off of blunts, smoking weed all day, doing drugs. They're depressed. They can't take pressure. They can't do STEM because they don't have the mental fortitude, the resilience for it. They're weak. If they made like they used to have shop classes in the high schools, where you leave high school, you're a bricklayer, leave high school, you're an auto mechanic, they'd be interested in it, but they'll take shortcuts. Cry and complain as soon as it starts hurting, the pain of lifting up brick after brick. The difficulty of harmonizing sensitivity and strength and logical troubleshooting when you have to fix a car. All of these things are the mechanics of the spirit that produces the greatness of the professional. It's the mechanics of the spirit. There's a crisis in the mechanics and logistics of the spirit in our children that has them handicapped to show up for STEM and blue collar works. STEM and blue collar works is what makes a nation stand strong. And out of the mouth of our own females, that's Dusty. Oh, he's square. Oh, he lame. You got a kid who's growing up into tech, who wants to get into tech, science, engineering, whatever else. The girls, what would they say? Oh, he's lame. Oh, he's boring. Oh, his shirt, I don't like how his shirt buttoned up all the way to the top. Oh, he's a nerd. He ain't a street nigga. He ain't a thug. He ain't walk around here with his pants sagging and hair all over the fucking place, reeking of weed. So you don't want nothing to do with that. So the females are socially engineering the young men to avoid these career paths because it means they'll be cut off from access to the girls. And the hard to swallow truth is men only work because it means they will have the option of having a girl at the end. That's the only reason we work. It's not sophisticated. It's not complicated. It's the truth of life that will never change. If you take away women, men will have no incentive whatsoever to pick up a wrench, a hammer, or a screwdriver. But those same women tell them that they're lame, they're boring, they're square. I don't want them. That's Dusty. If they decide I want to be a car mechanic or I want to be a carpenter, I want to be a pipe fitter, a garbage man, a painter. Our culture has become so sick. And people from across seas who come from other countries, they don't have a problem with it. They take pride in being able to put their boots on and go do blue collar work. They take pride in a youth who has a bright future ahead of them in STEM. And their women like guys who do that because it means the probability of their success is greater. But here in the West, we have a sickness in the culture. This is a full stop to take and examine these details in ourselves and in our families. As I said before, my sun in Mars is conjunct in the 11th house, so I speak to the collective from a collective perspective. If you want a personal reading to understand how this relates to you personally, you have to get a reading with me.